past year, there's been a lot of energies coming in and influencing relationship dynamics.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I hear you. And relationships are this sort of like playing field, or this context, or this interaction, or all of that, that really, 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 really gets us to deal with our stuff, because it touches on so many of these ways that we view the world, and we view ourselves, and we view other people in the world. And so that all these false beliefs get brought up to the surface, and we get triggered like crazy. So, I mean, it's a really fertile ground. I mean, I consider family relationships, romantic relationships, and death, those bring up everything, you know? So definitely, and it's part of the program, because we're really in this fast forward in consciousness, and we've got to let go of all that does not resonate at a higher level, so that we can resonate at those higher levels.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of laugh a little bit to myself when you know, people around me, or people that, you know, that I'm in contact with, they don't have they don't have too many love relationships, and they don't have children, and they're kind of like they're in solitude a little bit. And everything seems to be going so easy breezy for them. And I've been in that space, and I love that space where you're just completely independent, and you don't have these people to trigger you and to activate different lessons in you. And I really feel like, yeah, relationships definitely are what is going to help us progress the fastest, spiritually evolve the fastest. You know, whether it's a close relationship with a family member, or you know, a romantic relationship, or children. But I always kind of, I guess everybody has their own life path, and some people just aren't meant to encounter that dynamic with children or with long-lasting relationships. But a lot of the few questions that I received from some of the people in the self-care program were about that, were about stepping out of the solitude and into relationships, and how the difference, the contrast, it can be kind of, you know, in your face, because what you didn't have to deal with before, you have to deal with now.
Yeah.
So do you want to add anything to that, and to self-care, relating to self-care on that level through that transition?
Sure. Remember, it's a blessing. Remember, it's all orchestrated in a co-creation with, of your higher self. Ultimately, of course, with somebody else's higher self, but you never even have to look outside and say, well, you could just do all of the work within your own higher self. But it's a co-creation. You've got all the parts and smarts, otherwise it wouldn't happen in this linear time. It wouldn't happen with this person. You and this person, depending on how long or intense that relationship is, have planned that, okay, listen, I'm going to fall asleep, so I want you to come and wake me up and trigger me and do it right, you know, or even cheat on me and give me this false sense of I'm not worthy, I'm not chosen, I'm not sexy, I'm not this, love is not safe, I'm not enough, right? Give me all of that. So know that it's a blessing. Know it's all orchestrated by your higher self. Know that it's going to get better. Know that all of that which is being triggered is not you coming up. It's not the other person. It's not the other person. It's not even you. That which is coming up that is triggered wouldn't come up if you weren't triggered, right? So it's like, thank you for triggering me, you know. And it's coming up to lead you, so you can really be more of who you really are, as opposed to that sort of shaded version of your higher self. Like another layer of that cellophane paper around that infinite light that you are, that infinite love light that you are.
And together, the two people, are there any exercises that you recommend to work through those moments together collaboratively, to co-create moving away from being triggered and that sort of thing?
Moving away from being triggered. I'm not sure about moving away from being triggered, because triggered really is the blessing. You feel like it.
To eventually overcome it. Like my belief is that we get triggered enough until we resolve the issue. So do you have any recommendations for couples or for people, two people that are, you know, in a relationship, whether it's with family, to work together on? I know you had once mentioned that you know, sometimes will spend time in the astral or in dream time going to visit this person to do extra work.
Well, in the tiny space, I'll go in the tiny space.
On the tiny
And,
space.
and I'll yeah, you can cancel contracts, vows, agreements, all of that stuff. You can apologize to yourself, to them, for any transgressions that may have happened, or any space, time, dimension, reality, past, present, future, everything that you know that and so you can do that. And that can change a lot on this playing field. You know, if you that, when I do that in the tiny space. Myself personally, I've seen miraculous things happen with that. Yeah, you can do that for sure. Definitely, that's great. I'm glad you brought that up. You can do that for sure. The other thing too is, when you are going through a triggered situation, being as authentic and vulnerable and less guarded, and less blame the other person for that, and taking ownership of that which triggers within you is really a good way too. But yeah, handling things on the inner planes is an amazing way to do things. And the thing is, I only do that when I get the okay from higher self, because it is through that strife, that conflict, that being triggered, that you will grow, right? Because you call that person. So I mean, like, you can't always take that loophole, because higher self will be like, look, higher self, I called that person into your life or something, you know. But absolutely. And once you've gotten everything you've gotten from a situation, it's also important to realize, and you will naturally, because your vibration, if you really handle all that triggering, you will vibrate really yourself. And when you don't need that person, even if you're too afraid, or the other person is too afraid, or too possessive or whatever, to let go of that relationship, something will happen that you'll be vibrating differently. Unless you both grew so much, then now you are vibrating in a way that you can have more like in a relationship that has so much more joy and less thing. But otherwise, anyways, the vibration is going to move you guys apart, because of the law of resonance, or law of attraction, if you will. And that, because you don't need that anymore, your higher self is like, on to the next one. You know, you're more yourself, on to the next person, or on to being a couple of years on your own, depending on your belief system. If you believe that it takes a couple of years, it takes 6 months to heal from a relationship, and it takes a couple of years to find that really special person. So it just depends. But things will, at a certain point, you have to realize, you do have to realize that, okay, I've gotten everything I'm going to get from that. I've gotten that abundance of that certain spectrum of vibration. I've been triggered all day long, left, right, and center, 8 ways from Sunday, and I've truly dealt with that stuff, and I am so much more. And you will end up kind of looking at that person and being and feeling less of a physical attraction, even, because that physical attraction is actually a physical, it's like everything, it's a denser version of this of consciousness. So because there is the co-creation at the soul level is saying, okay, we've done it, you will find there's less of a physical attraction. Doesn't matter how hot that person is, it's just going to be that way.
Well, that's very interesting, because the study of basically biology shows us that when we've been with someone, when we meet someone, there's a release of oxytocin, there's a whole bunch of chemicals that are released that kind of hold us together for a period of 3 years.
Okay.
And that's on average, so the oxytocin lasts for that long, and that gives us enough time to procreate and to keep the male around, to protect the female during time of pregnancy and birth. And then after that, it sort of naturally dissipates away. So, I mean, technically, genetically, we're probably not meant to stay with the same person past that time. There's kind of a natural weaning of that sexual energy, or that appeal, or that desire for someone. So what do you have to say, in terms of the biology versus the spirituality of it? Is it just,
Well, first of all, all those tests and statistics and stuff like that, I tell you the truth, I don't give them that much credence at all, because science is always learning something new. They go 10 years saying, no, don't breastfeed. Then after they say, yeah, you have to breastfeed. And no, don't breastfeed. So, and so the thing is, so I don't really go with that anymore. And the observer, we know, will change the observation. You can actually, even on a conscious level, that's quantum, but on a conscious level, you can fudge whatever numbers you want because you want to have this paper report or whatever. So, but what I will say is, I'll say it's interesting, and we can see a lot of couples breaking up, or maybe breaking up after 5 years, but the last 2 years were terrible, or something like that. So maybe there is some credence to it, but maybe there's other way of relating on not only on a physical level, but a mental level, an emotional level, on a soul level, in this denuded way that everything feels very fresh all the time, and you're always seeing the one infinite creator in the other person.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we weren't, because maybe we weren't meant to be. I would never give an umbrella term to anything, or an umbrella kind of way about anything, because we're all expressing the infinite one creator, so that some will have this way of doing it every couple of months. Some will have it like mini marriages of 3 to 5 years. Some will have a lifetime of bliss. Some will have a lifetime of horrible relationships because they don't want to break up because of what family and society will think, what the other person will think, and because there's children, and because of all of that. So it's actually all of it, and where it's going. Anybody who thinks that they know is sort of is not realizing that they're going to know more tomorrow. That they're going to. So sort of like, it's interesting. When you count in the room, there's 10 people in the room, and you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. When I count in the room, one way that I remind myself that I know more today than I did yesterday, and I will know more tomorrow than I did today, and keeps me humble and always open, is that I go not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9, but 10. So I remember that it's not 1. It's not 2. So know what we know now. Yes, embrace it, all that stuff, and live, but know that we're going to get somewhere else. And it's sort of like, and it's very much in the spiritual journey, because the spiritual journey, it's like climbing a mountain. Mm-hmm. Back, like all these old traditions that we have, and I've really learned a lot of them over the years, is when consciousness really was not increasing. It was really almost just a little bit more than flatlining, so that you could use the same non-duality teachings, or the same Buddhists, or the same just nothingness, or the same teachings all the time, and do super amazing spiritually. But now we're in a place where consciousness is moving like this, and you can't necessarily what Buddha did 2,000 years ago, 2,500 years ago, because it's a different consciousness vibration that you're sitting in. And when you're climbing up, we're writing a new story completely. There's nothing that we can necessarily fall back on. So it's like climbing a mountain. When you climb a mountain, this part of the mountain face that you're climbing makes it that you have to invert your foot that way, and that way you have to make your foot that way. You've got to stick your pinky in the wall there and lift yourself up mostly with your left hand. And then when you get to that next level, the rock face is completely different. You're going to have to do something different. Which is why it's so important to be in connection with your higher self. Really so important with your heart, to be open to what it is that you don't already know, or what it is that you don't already see, sense, feel through the world, and how it is that you should be living. How shall I live? And yes, when a rough situation comes back, fall back to non-duality. Fall back to Buddhism, definitely, because it's tried true and you need it. And it's not time to climb the mountain. It's time to kind of like be in that place where you can have. A lot of times when we're going through rough times, it's not necessarily that. It could be just integration, actually. So that's something to be said. But yeah, fall back to that just non-duality, that Buddhism and all that stuff. But then when you go up and you're climbing the mountain, know that you're climbing up to become conscious creator.
Yeah, everything is always changing. And
so it's not about non-duality, because non-duality is in a sense, well, okay, fine. And there's a lot of power in that. But when you're a conscious creator, it's like, no, I want this. I want to express this in the world. Mm-hmm. So it just depends. I mean, just think about that analogy with the rock face. It's always going to be different, and be open to it, and go according to what higher self will tell you, according to what your guides will tell you. And don't expect that what you did to get to this level of consciousness will be what you will use to get to the next level of consciousness. And only the best guru out there is your higher self, knows the plan to the T.
Beautiful, yeah. It creates a mystery, right? There's a mystery there and an excitement.
Faith, trust.
For those of us that are curious and that enjoy that really, I thank you for saying that. I enjoy that.
And faith is very important.
Yeah, I agree. We're pretty much coming to a close very soon. And I'm being urged to ask you about dream time.
Yes.
For some reason. How does dream time relate to either your own spiritual self-care, your spiritual path, or the work that you do?
Well, dreams are big in my life. I have a lot of epic dreams. And so dreams will normally, depending on to what degree I can remember them, what I more care about is the way that I feel. If I can't remember that symbology that you're seeing from, unless it's really, 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 really lucid. But it'll let me know where I am at this sort of like stage of whatever mini saga or whatever level of consciousness that I'm at. And a lot of times it'll actually give me clues to what I'm doing on higher levels, like, wow, what am I doing on like in Illyria, or what am I doing in Andromeda, or like how I'm hanging out with Sananda in that reality and that kind of stuff. So it just depends on the dreams, because dreams are so rich, but it could just give you insight in where you are now. It could be really just like a pure like premonition dream, but it can let you know about things that you're working on. And what I ask often is that, hey, dream, everything that I haven't gotten to process today, process for me now. I only want to know what I need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else, take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm a dream specialist. There's a lot more prolific dreamers out there, but I definitely use my dreams, and my dreams inform me quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, in those ways.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you so much, Michael. I'm saddened to say goodbye. I could talk to you for hours.
Well, we bump into each other all the time in the light worker community, and we chat on Facebook, and we can do this and just hang out.
For sure.
So, and I'm really, really glad to have spent this time with you, and I hope this is something that helps people. And I know it's been really, really fun for me. I always love geeking out with you.
Definitely.
And yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, and just for sharing yourself, so deeply with the world, and for being such a compassionate person, and dedicating your time to being in the heart and being able to share that with others, because I think it's a really important step that we all must take at one point in our lives, and especially now, the time that we're living in. So thank you so much for being one of the guides for people to step into that.
Oh, thank you. It is, let me just take a moment to receive that. Thank you. It's really a joy. It's really a joy and an honor. And really, thank you too for this whole self-care program that you're doing, and for everything that you're doing, like, just being you in the world. And it's a beautiful contribution. And I think this program that you're putting together is a beautiful contribution. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael. I urge everyone to get a hold of you and enroll for your workshop ASAP, as soon as possible. So again, just to end off, with your contact info and how someone can get a hold of you, again, just in case they didn't hear it at the beginning, can you just let them know your email address and name for Facebook?
Yes, thank you. So my name is Michael Margulis, and they can find you on they can find me on your friend list, and it's compassion7, that's the number 7, @gmail.com.
Perfect. And if anybody has any questions that they want to ask Michael,
yes,
don't be shy to share in the comments below. I definitely hope to interview you again, Michael, and some different topics. So please share and add your comments. It would be much appreciated.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Namaste.
So, Michael?
Yes.
You can't stop the video.
We had see how we geeked out like that? That was wonderful.
I loved your energy. Like I told everyone that I spoke with, you know, before interviewing you, I was like, I don't think I'm going to have any problems, you know, in